Our last presentation, last but not least, is from Alexander Pinto. He's co-founder and CEO of iClio, a company that designs and edits new media contents in the area of history, cultural heritage, and tourism. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks for the invitation. One of the cool things in this stage is that there are two historians, me and Simon at least, and kind of sees a sign that historians have a huge stake on this ecosystem of tourism, mostly in content. We're talking about technology. We make technology, we make content to destinations, to cities, to institutions. But actually, my first slide is that sometimes when we talk with tourism sites related with religious issues, technology not all the times is seen as an advantage because it kind of distracts from the essential, because people can travel, they walk to Santiago de Compostela, they walk to Fátima, different pilgrims from different religions travel by foot or by train, by plane, whatever, to these destinations. And once they get there, the main focus of the experience most of the time is the silence, is being offline, is the religious and confessional motive why they went there. So most of the times we hear critics that, well, we don't actually want to boost the technology because people are here exactly to have a kind of non-online experience. So my first question is digital tech is evolving in the same order religious tourism wants to receive this type of experience, or is this the kind of thing that sometimes we forget that we're putting technology in everything, and maybe on the pilgrim religious tourism we need to use technology to do the logistics side of things, the content, onboarding, contextualization, but to fulfill and upgrade this experience on these sites, maybe we need to go back and look to books and other strategies, and other creative, innovative experiences, because even millennials, they are completely addicted to technology, but now and then they also like and enjoy the offline experience. Most of you, if you're staying in Fátima, you will be able, at the desk you see, there's an opportunity to download the Fátima application, which is promoted by the local DMO, and we are the content and tech providers. The biggest challenge here in Fátima, our technology basically manages the time of user and addresses cultural information about the site. And this is the first thing I want to share with you related with content. Making content to locations like Fátima, there is two different approaches, and the biggest challenge was to have one solo approach. In one hand, you have a confessional location for Catholics. On the other hand, this is a cultural destination. People from different cultures can come here and want to kind of understand the cultural phenomena, the historic reasons why is this here. And in the mix, you never know what type of user is using your app. So the level of content that is produced by historians, by our team, needs, in the same text, in the same approach, to either give the info that those who came here for religious motives kind of feel the information that they need, and contextualize the info that they seek to understand better the location. But even those who don't know much about Catholics, or even the reason why is this sanctuary in this location, have the kind of information that help them to upgrade the level of information. So the trigger here was not to make technology, because technology is all over the world. There are a lot of companies doing that. But the real challenge was to make the contents that address two types of people in one single way of doing it. We have a saying inside our company that since 2009 I was not able to make it in Portuguese because it came out in English. The way we look at this is being light without being soft. And by this we mean that Millennials have a lower span attention, so they don't like to read much. But at the same time, it needs to be valuable information. So all our strategy on doing content is doing it light in the sense that they are small, but not soft, okay? On this intersection between, we've heard a lot today, yesterday, about these sites that they are mainly religious, but in the end, it's all about culture. Even in the previous board, we had this example of the Norwegian example that enhances the cultural, historical, in order to tell religious facts in a religious destination. It's all about this. We think that if we sell, not in a monetizing way, but if we sell these destinations, enhancing the cultural perspective, this enriches not just the confessional pilgrims that came to these destinations with religious motives, but also to the others. It helped them to approach, and even if they are not, in this location, Fátima, Catholics, if they are Muslims or whatever, it helped them to get near the reason, the cultural motive, and obviously it helps them to understand a little bit of the country and of the full experience of why people gather in one location. So my last slide is about this intersection. We don't need to put VR in everything, not that Simon's example is not a good example, but saying that even the company that I helped founded by other historians, we are mainly focused on content, on technology. We are also aware that in certain locations, technology has a very specific challenge, which is logistic, driving users to the destination, help them booking, help them making their own tours, organize their travel experience, giving them extra content. But in the end, when they are in the location, we think that the best experience that they can have is probably mainly offline. And for that reason, we think that technology has it's a huge stakeholder of this experience. But in our perspective, on religious sites, on this type of tourism, the religious tourism, we think that probably it will be a better experience if we use technology to help us to get there, to know more, but to feel more. Probably we will need strategies that go more on the offline mode, like we did in the past, and that was the real reason why nowadays, with no technology, they kept being huge destinations that attract millions of users every year. Thank you.
So thank you. Again, there are some topics that were mentioned before about creating content and about creating narrative and storytelling. And I think that you introduced an interesting question between the use of technologies and, let's say, the possible contradiction that could be between living a real life or having a real spiritual experience and the virtual information that we can find in those places. So thank you. As we are running out of time, we would like to have some questions for you, but if you can just try to make an answer of 1 minute, 2 minutes, please. Okay. So from the perspective of the ones that are in charge of heritage place, Giuseppe and Simon, it's clear that technologies can use in the promotion of the site, but how do you target the results, or how do you think that this can help in improving or creating some products or some specifically to different targets or segments? No, Giuseppe.
We use, in Montserrat, we use most of the technology as other important sanctuaries like Fátima. We use, for example, internet direct TV. We use apps. We use 360 virtual reality. We use, I don't know, smart guides. We use a lot of of technology. But I agree with what says Alexander, that sometimes we have to think if in the sanctuary, in the sacred places, you need technology. So that's a question. And I want to introduce the things that we have learned all these years using technologies. The first thing is that technology is a tool. It has to be not an adjective to use technology. It seems obviously, but sometimes we forget it and just we use technology, and we have to know it that it's a tool. For example, we think they have to be easy to use. They have to be useful for a pilgrim, because if not, it doesn't work. It has to reinforce the message, and it has to improve the experience in the sacred places. And technology as well has to help to do sustainable development. If not, we think that it is not worth to invest in technology. That's one thing. For the targets that you say, when we try to work with the targets, the first thing we try to find is the nationality. It's very important because the culture from different nationalities, they are very different, as I said as well before, the different partners, the culture of different countries, they are really different. And the other thing that we work with is the motivation or the expectation, of what the visitors expect when they arrive to the sanctuary. Yesterday, Professor Jafari in the morning says that each pilgrim is a tourist, and each tourist is not a pilgrim. In the afternoon, Professor Collins says that the tourist, when visit a sacred place, can be a pilgrim, and we completely agree with her. In Montserrat, part of we try, part of our job is we welcome everybody, and we try that the tourists, when they come back home, they come back as a pilgrim. So that's part of that's why we try to know as much information of the visitors so we can do this job.
Thank you. Simon?
I guess I would say, yeah, on the use of technology in general, then it's going to be very much bespoke for whichever building you're looking after or whatever space you're looking after. The use of technology has to be very specifically chosen for that. At St. Paul's, because we have 4,500 visitors a day, it can get very busy and it could be very noisy. So the audio guide actually helps to keep people quiet because they're listening and they're looking. They're not looking at their phones, they're looking at the cathedral. So the audio guide is right for us, whereas we wouldn't use necessarily the VR that we heard about. So that's one thing. And the other thing on targets is that it's good to be very specific about what your targets are. As with our project, we were trying to understand the barriers that were stopping people from coming to the cathedral and to address those. And obviously monitoring then how many people that are from London, that's been very useful. And we've been able to couple the mosaics with sort of a slight sort of switch of strategy, which is to open later, have late events, and allow photography in the evenings so that people come and photograph the mosaics, and that helps to grow the London numbers.
Thank you.
Okay.
We are seeing that they are also useful in management, in improving and helping in the sustainability of the religious sites from this point of view. Mm-hmm. So, Karin, from your point of view or from your experience, how do you foresee the application of new technologies for the promotion of religious tourism in the next future?
There are several trends. I was just talking about the services, thinking in terms of services, information services, entertainment services. The new word is, of course, smart, because what we will see in the next years is that all these services will be aggregated, isn't it? And context-based. SOCOMO is also a new buzzword, the acronym for social, context, and mobile. It is what Mona also said. We are very much connected. Our audiences are connected. Our visitors are connected, and they want to be constantly served. So this is one trend that we will see. And on routes and on sites, people want context, locality-based services constantly. Another trend is that all these services are readily available, isn't it? Because we're thinking in big terms like virtual reality, all kinds of new technologies, but we forget that there is another kind of innovation going on, and that is that many of these applications and services are readily available. All we have to put in is the content, and that's also sometimes the biggest obstacle. I recently spoke to a technology provider, a provider of guided tours and gamification platforms, Ojo, and I asked him what is the biggest critical success factors, and he says the client needs to deliver content. And the term for these kind of things that are readily available and also rather cheap is service as a service, an IT term. Service as a service means hosting, software, and everything. The management you can do from home or your office is readily available as a package. And for many sites, that is a very, very accessible and very affordable option. And very often I hear people say, oh, we are developing an app, and then I'm already, oh dear, that's going to be probably expensive again, and inventing the wheel. So look at what is on the shelf and work with technology providers.
Okay, thank you. Mona, from Malta or from the Mediterranean Foundation, how do you think that new technologies can be used in the promotion of religion tourism sites or events, for example, in your case?
I mean, as I mentioned before, the world now is so huge that you cannot reach everybody just by, I mean, any means of communication. You have to have the right tool. I mean, now the use of technology made it easier, although sometimes it could have also the negative effect. We should not, I mean, we have always the bad reviews that can affect the whole country, even or impact, but at the same time, let us look at the positive side, which can enhance, I mean, the economy of that country. I mean, many countries now depend of tourism as the backbone of their economies. Now in Malta, for example, we are really more interested as a Malta Tourism Foundation, we are always talking about projects. We are talking about bringing people together, sharing ideas, because through this we can have always new products, sustainable product, creating something that is interesting even for the new generation, because there will be the new people coming, I mean, customers in that industry. For example, in the second week of October, last October, we created the Mediterranean Diwali, which is a big festival that took place in Pyrgo in Malta. We merged actually two festivals of Malta that Malta celebrates the candlelight with the Mediterranean, with the Diwali, that is very important festival religious festival for India, because the market from India is growing. And so we merged those two products to bring out a new product, which is called the Mediterranean Diwali, which attracts a big number from India. So this is basically how we are using. Of course, it was promoted well, good websites, I mean, all these things that are used by technology to reach I mean, if you have the best idea, but no means of communication, then you lose it. So, I mean, through technology, you can reach everybody.
Yeah. Communication is very important, so
yes.
Technology can help in communicating.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And Alexander, as Josep was mentioning, there's an important topic here which is related to motivation and related to the expectations of people just going to the places. So how do you think that, for example, the use of technologies, VR, or for example, using mobile applications or so, can just influence the way of people perceive the site, or can just influence the perception, or can be just a gap between the expectation and the real site?
Well, I don't want to look like the guy that don't like technology, because my company had more than 300 apps in the App Store, and now we're putting all in one single one. But remembering that we use this technology, and when I was in the Bay Area with the Google Arts Institute, we were discussing why does people use this technology? What is the moment that they seek this technology? I would say that nowadays, people, before they travel, because they tend to spend much more time deciding where to go to, and checking prices and so on. And as we know, this ecosystem is getting, we had a few years ago different players, now we're having a big player moving on this. I would say that technology is being used nowadays to decide whether I go, where do I have more information. So they check if there are apps available, free or added services. They check if they can see, like the Simon show, the experience, if they can see a preview of what they are going to see there. So everyone nowadays uses technology to scout and use that to fundament their decision. So I would say that in the future, technology will keep be using on the inspirational process of the visit, on the execution of the visit, like logistic, how do I go there, how do I reach there, what tickets do I buy, do I get there in time. But I would say that inside, the audio guide solution is always a kind of the middle way, because I'm listened and I'm looking at it with my eyes. But I say that in this world where everything is technology, where everything is so fast and people want to have it in the pocket in seconds, I would say that after this hype of technology and trying it all, we'll end up using technology to arrive the door, and once you step the door, I think that in the future people will go back and have the offline experience with a very good storyteller, with very good materials to help them, that the postal that they can send back home again, with a good book that they can read on the journey home. So I would say that technology nowadays, there will be a hype where technology will do it all, but in the future, the way I see it evolving, I see that people will use it mainly for inspiration and logistic, and once they cross the door, they will be looking at an amazing storyteller, an amazing physical offline product. So I would say that in the near future, they will be completely on the inspirational and logistic travel.
Okay. Thank you. It's very interesting, this point of view. So just to conclude, some things that has been said today, and just to relate it with things that were said yesterday or this morning. Technology is a tool, and this tool should be used for helping in the promotion, but also for helping in the sustainability of heritage sites. A really important thing, as Professor Collins Craner said yesterday, is related to storytelling and to creating narrative, with or without technology. So probably the idea of not using technology when you are at a heritage site or religious site is really interesting. And I would like to finish with an open question, a reflection to all of you. So yesterday we were talking about touristification of the sites. So to what extent new technologies can be used in the promotion of the sites, but also can contribute to the touristification of the sites. So how pilgrims could feel about the use of technologies and about the use of technologies for promoting sites to everywhere, religious sites to everywhere, and just feeling sometimes maybe embodied for other tourists. So just think that technology can use, but we have to use it in a good way. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to all the speakers and the panelists. I think probably, as in previous situations, our kind host would like to thank you for your participation here. So not to take some virtual reality of Fátima home, but to take some physical reality, and that you can remember this moment here together. Thank you again. Thank you very much again to Sylvia for moderating this session, and to all the speakers for flying us far away into the different locations. We're approaching the closing ceremony of this conference, and before I invite the speakers on stage to do their closing remarks, I would just like to thank again the municipality of Oran. I'd like to thank you for being with us during this time, the speakers, and as a reflection of these 2 days, I think the most important thing that I have seen from my side is how the different stakeholders are coming together, and we're breaking the silos between the religious community, the tourism community, the technology community, and I think this is probably one of the secrets of the success of the future of religious tourism and pilgrimages. It is now my pleasure to initiate the closing remarks. We will do so with the representative of the city of Krakow, Mr. Bartolomej Wallace, advisor of tourism of the mayor of Krakow, because we are very pleased that this conversation that has started here will take a trip somewhere in Poland, I've heard. So it is my pleasure to leave you with Mr. Wallace.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So I will be speaking French, excuse me. So if you need, use your translate devices. J'ai un grand plaisir de remercier, de féliciter la mairie de la commune d'Orem, mais aussi le secrétaire général de l'OMT pour le congrès qui s'achève, qui nous permet d'échanger des expériences, d'études des cas, des réflexions sur le tourisme religieux. Peut-être tout le monde se pose la question où va se dérouler le prochain congrès, donc peut-être ma présence ici est significative. Et probablement, j'espère bien, la ville de Cracovie, le maire, M. Jacek Majchrowski, sera très heureux et la ville est prête, Monsieur le secrétaire général. Voilà quelques réflexions. Comment je fais? Ah oui, d'accord. Non, pas ça. Not movie. Just presentation. The second slide. OK. Est-ce que c'est vrai, ce visuel qui provient de toute récente stratégie de la ville de Copenhague au Danemark? Probablement oui. On a parlé beaucoup sur le comportement. Le touriste d'aujourd'hui, il se pose la question, pas où aller, mais quoi faire sur place. Et comment on peut alors comprendre tout ce qu'on appelle le tourisme durable. Bien entendu, il ne s'agit pas de la protection d'environnement, surtout dans les villes. Les villes historiques, ils ont des problèmes tout à fait différents. Voilà. Puisque les gens y viennent pas uniquement pour le patrimoine. Les sites, les villes comme Fátima, comme Lourdes, avec signification religieuse bien profonde, ils ont un défi tout à fait différent par rapport aux villes comme Paris, Amsterdam, Cracovie, Prague et autres. La communication, on a parlé beaucoup sur la communication. À l'époque, c'était de présenter le produit, donc selling proposition, après la proposition émotionnelle, et à présent, on peut dire sur la proposition de la destination, unique destination proposition. Bien entendu, le tourisme religieux, il est plein d'émotions. il a beaucoup évolué et changé. Si on regarde une étude auprès des Européens qui a été effectuée il y a 2 ans, vous voyez bien entendu que le tourisme religieux, la religion est l'un des motifs principaux pour le déplacement touristique, pas uniquement spirituel. La ville de Cracovie est l'une des sites qui a plusieurs facettes touristiques. C'est bien entendu patrimoine, mais c'est aussi le site religieux très important avec certaines icônes de marque, bien sûr, et d'autres produits et segments touristiques. Le problème du tourisme d'aujourd'hui, c'est comment équilibrer les comportements des différents segments des marchés. Est-ce que les pèlerins vont bien avec le segment des hipsters, par exemple? Et troisième volet, ce sont les habitants. Je vais faire une remarque, une présentation tout à l'heure. Le site de Cracovie, bien entendu, se trouve dans ces équilibres entre sacrum et profanum, bien entendu les endroits qui sont liés avec Jean-Paul II, mais également pas un seul, mais 13 sanctuaires. Les expériences de la ville de Cracovie, je voudrais vous présenter à travers une petite étude, un petit film sur le Journée mondiale du tourisme, de jeunesse qui s'est déroulé à Cracovie récemment. Et voilà quelques images. Voilà, ce sont les émotions. On a parlé tous les deux jours durant les congrès, mais quand on demande les pèlerins pourquoi vous êtes venus pour la journée mondiale de jeunesse, entre autres et différentes réponses, vous avez rencontré les gens. Bon, peut-être pas même visiter le pays, mais rencontrer les gens, d'avoir des échanges, des liens, à part bien entendu des motivations plus profondes et religieuses. D'ailleurs, on essaye partout, ici à Fátima, va se dérouler au mois de février, un rendez-vous B2B des professionnels du tourisme. Récemment, le grand meeting religieux a eu lieu entre les professionnels du tourisme et les journalistes à Cracovie. Mais ce tourisme durable a un troisième volet qui a été évoqué aujourd'hui ou hier, ce sont les résidents. Les résidents et les relations entre différents segments et les résidents. Donc la ville de Cracovie propose pour l'année prochaine également une conférence. On va essayer de rassembler de différentes villes européennes et mondiales pour discuter. Ça, on a appelé Ville historique 3.0, pour discuter les 3 volets. Donc, est-ce que la visite et la vie quotidienne de résidents sont opposés ou pas? Est-ce qu'il y a un équilibre dans ce domaine? Donc, on va proposer 3 panels qui vont parler également de digitalisation du tourisme. Il y a un segment, on sait très bien, on est dans un monde de nouvelles technologies, mais il y a un segment qui n'accepte pas ça. Quelqu'un avait évoqué le tourisme religieux, c'est le silence surtout, pour plusieurs. Voilà, c'est un défi qui va avoir une influence dans les années qui viennent dans le tourisme. Est-ce que et comment, où est la limite de commercialisation des sites religieux pour le tourisme d'affaires, pour les fêtes? Est-ce qu'il y a un point d'interrogation? Voilà, ce sont les sujets de tourisme religieux et tourisme dans les villes historiques pour venir. Je serais très ravi, au nom du maire de Cracovie, d'inviter le prochain congrès à Cracovie. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wallace. So book your agendas. 2018, Krakow is the place to be. Before we go to Krakow, I'll also like to take this opportunity to invite you and to put in your agendas the second UNWTO UNESCO World Conference on Tourism and Culture, which will take place in Oman the next 11 and 12 December. You're still in time. Registration is still open, so make sure you join us. And now it is my great pleasure to invite the mayor of this magnificent municipality that has hosted it during the last 2 days, Sr. Presidente da Câmara de Orem, Sr. Luís Albuquerque.
Muito boa tarde a todos. Antes de iniciar a minha intervenção, queria solicitar a permissão do Sr. Secretário-Geral da OMT se nos permitia que passássemos um pequeno vídeo institucional do nosso município. Obrigado. Excelentíssimo Sr. Secretário-Geral da Organização Mundial do Turismo, Sr. Taleb Rifai, excelentíssimos senhores ministros de outros países que estão conosco, Excelentíssimo Senhor Presidente da Junta de Freguesia de Fátima, Excelentíssimo Senhor Reitor do Santuário de Nossa Senhora de Fátima, Padre Carlos Cabecinhas, em representação de Sua Excelência Reverendíssima o Bispo da Diocese de Leiria e Fátima, Comunicação Social, senhoras e senhores congressistas. Queria começar a minha intervenção por agradecer mais uma vez a todos aqueles que trabalharam afincadamente durante os últimos meses para colocar de pé este evento com o brilho que ele atingiu. Queria também fazer aqui, neste encerramento de congresso, uma referência a duas pessoas que muito contribuíram para que ele se realizasse em Fátima. O meu antecessor, Paulo Fonseca, e o Dr. Francisco Vieira, que infelizmente já não está entre nós, mas que foram efetivamente duas das pessoas que mais contribuíram para que este evento se realizasse em Fátima e em Portugal. Com a realização muito conseguida, na minha perspectiva, do Congresso Internacional de Turismo Religioso e Peregrinação, encerramos aqui o que poderei classificar como um dos momentos recentes mais marcantes vividos no município de Orém e na cidade de Fátima. Pelas presenças prestigiantes registadas, pela expressão mediática do evento, pela abrangência que o mesmo assumiu numa escala de grande nível internacional e, acima de tudo, pelas reflexões e conclusões retiradas no decorrer dos trabalhos, tal equivale por dizer que hoje me sinto extremamente lisonjeado por ter sido conferido ao meu município o privilégio de acolher Vossas Excelências e este Congresso no seu todo. Como tive a oportunidade de referir na abertura dos trabalhos, este Congresso tem uma ligação indelével às comemorações do centenário das aparições de Fátima e ao acontecer como fruto da visão estratégica da Organização Mundial do Turismo, em parceria com o Governo de Portugal e o município de Orém, tal poderia, e parece-me que conseguiu, assumir-se como um espaço agregador de diferentes patamares de responsabilização política, na procura dos melhores caminhos para um fenómeno de massas, refletindo internacionalmente o quanto, nesse contexto, a mensagem de Fátima continua a sensibilizar povos e gerações na procura dos caminhos da paz. Nesta oportunidade, não poderei deixar de citar as palavras do Sr. Secretário-Geral da OMT, Sr. Taleb Rifai, numa entrevista concedida ao sítio eletrónico do município de Orém, antecedendo este congresso, que, e passo a citar, o turismo religioso é uma forma exemplar de conhecer e respeitar o mundo e a sua diversidade. Neste ano, em que celebramos a declaração por parte das Nações Unidas do Ano Internacional do Turismo Sustentável para o Desenvolvimento, a OMT promove o valor do turismo em termos de desenvolvimento económico, de preservação do património cultural e ambiental, mas também como fator de entendimento cultural, e neste campo o turismo religioso tem um papel essencial. Fim de citação. Partilho estes valores e, tendo sido Fátima a cidade de acolhimento por maioria de razões, acredito que no final deste congresso, de certo, todos sairemos daqui mais ricos e com o sentimento de que valeu a pena o interesse e o esforço colocados nesta organização, quer enquanto promotores, quer enquanto participantes, deixando esta cidade de santuário embebidos numa mensagem de paz. Cumpre-me, finalmente, formular os melhores votos que o próximo congresso, em Cracóvia, na Polónia, venha a atingir os propósitos da OMT e possa exceder as melhores expectativas, como esperamos tenha acontecido em Fátima. Assim como estaremos disponíveis a receber de braços abertos outros eventos de idêntica expressão e enquadramento temático. Senhoras e senhores congressistas, excelências, esta magnífica cidade de Fátima, na sua essência como mensageira de paz, a sua envolvente histórica e monumental e o município de Orém renovam o convite de sempre para que nos voltem a visitar e teremos sempre bons motivos para isso. Relembrando aqui o 6º Workshop Internacional de Turismo Religioso, que decorrerá nesta cidade de 22 a 24 de fevereiro do próximo ano. Será sempre um privilégio receber cada um de vós neste ambiente de espiritualidade, num ambiente de silêncio e confissões, num apelo permanente ao cessar das hostilidades em todo o mundo. Fátima será sempre a casa de todos e de cada um, e continuaremos a trabalhar para elevar a projeção de Fátima, altar do mundo, cidade da paz, a cada recanto da aldeia global. Muito obrigado a todos pela vossa presença e participação. Até sempre.
Muito obrigado, Sr. Presidente. Muito obrigado por estes magníficos 2 dias e por acolher-nos na casa de todos. Antes de passar a palavra ao Secretário-Geral da Organização Mundial de Turismo para fechar este congresso, gostaria só de pedir o vosso aplauso para os voluntários que estiveram aqui das várias escolas a ajudar durante estes 2 dias. Muito obrigada a todos. Thank you very much, and it is now my great pleasure to invite on stage Mr. Taleb Rifai, UNWTO Secretary General, to close this Congress.
And it was another beautiful, peaceful night of sleeping so nicely and so quietly. I think we should all have the habit of coming again and again to Fátima here. You'll have to forgive me for not being so properly dressed. I was on a field trip, that's why I was delayed here. But this is the spirit of Fátima, filling each and every one of us. Thank you so much for joining us in the last 2 days. We've just heard a very beautiful definition of what religious tourism is. It's a combination of culture, religion, and art. And it is, indeed, all of those together and much more. There's a spirit there that we need to ignite and keep alive in each and every one of us. But I want to make a few remarks to conclude with some thoughts about what we have arrived at in the last day and a half. My dear friends, between January and August of this year, destinations worldwide welcomed 901 million international arrivals. 901 in 8 months only. These are 56 million more than last year, 2016. And already 2016 was an excellent year. This represents a 7% year-on-year increase, well above the growth of all growths in recent years. Portugal's exports from tourism, which is called tourism receipts, increased by 19%, 19%, in the same period of time, between January and August. Fátima certainly, and the celebration of 100 years in Fátima, are no doubt contributing to this factor of Portugal continuing to grow this year. I'm sure that the celebration will amplify this positive trend even further as the position of the country among pilgrims from all other around the world strengthens. This is how the parts make the big picture. Fátima definitely contributed to Portugal, and Portugal deserves Fátima and vice versa. My dear friends, this meeting has highlighted both challenges and opportunities that are lying ahead. Among the opportunities that were mentioned this year is the inclusion of the local community and the benefits of the local community who have much to gain from economic and social, cultural interaction. Let us always remember that at the heart of all of this are the people that are living around us and are the real protectors and guardians of these wonderful shrines and wonderful monuments and wonderful religious sites. It's absolutely important to make sure that the community not only embraces this activity, embraces each and every visitor to these places. We never should allow what happened in other cities to happen in cities like Fatima. Never should allow the resentment that happens sometimes between visitors and hosts. What is good for the people of the country, what's good for the people of Fatima, should be good for the visitors. No country should enjoy it being only hosting people that want to come and have good time on the expense of their own citizens. It's absolutely crucial to keep on building 5-star hotels in 5-star communities, not the other way around. It is absolutely important to recognize the principle that a country and a destination that's not enjoyed and cherished by its own people should never be enjoyed by its visitors. This is a sacred principle for us, and we should always keep it in mind. This meeting also highlighted another very important opportunity. The spiritual values evoked by religion sites are universal and embracing all. We all felt part of Fatima in the last day and a half. That's how every visitor should feel, regardless of the differences, regardless who we are, where we came from, what our beliefs are, what our religions are. When we are in a place, we are part of that place. Respect and become part of what is being offered there. This is the two very important principles, community and universality. Now, when it comes to challenges, there are many. These challenges were highlighted in many of the interventions. Let me try very quickly to highlight 5 of these challenges, hoping that this would sum up most of the ideas that were there. 1, strong seasonality and high visitors' influence during peak periods are very important challenges. We cannot only build our industry on a few days or a few weeks or on a limited period of time where everybody comes there and then they disappear the day after. It's absolutely important to keep the momentum and keep the spread of this activity all year round. 2, pilgrims and festivals that call for strong management and organization are absolutely essential. We cannot do without strong management and very disciplined means. And in doing that, we should utilize technology, we should utilize management skills to be able to handle the crowds and to be able to make sure that we are organizing the visits in the most convenient and the most experiential way. 3, safety and security remains an issue. Safety and security must be handled at the utmost seriousness, but it should be done with a smile on the face. It should be done with a very positive attitude. It's not just being safe and secure, it's being safe and secure in a very friendly manner. And this is a real challenge. 4, we should utilize the resources that come out of these visits to the preservation and the protection of these monuments. Financial structures, tax regimes, and many of the systems that are put in place must be always keeping in mind that what comes out of this site must in majority be utilized by this site to protect it, to protect its integrity and its authenticity. Last but not least, we should always keep in mind that religious sites are very attractive sites for senior citizens. I just came from Orom, Mr. President, and I went to the castle there. What I saw were elderly people walking around there, enjoying everything in that castle. If there are no ramps, if there are no facilities, if you don't keep in mind that we are living longer and that we are retiring more or less at the same age, that there are people are 80s and 90s now that are visiting these sites, then they need special considerations in hotels and how they move, and how they behave, and how they want to enjoy the place, then we will be denying ourselves the responsibility of giving them the rights that they deserve, and at the same time, we are denying ourselves a big amount of market share profits if we do not cater for them. These, my friends, I think, are 5 important points that I concluded from the challenges that lay ahead. On this basis, we have found that religious tourism is calling for the following policy actions. Policy planning that takes into consideration the specifics of the products and the site and the uniqueness of that site and all the challenges above. 2, we need to establish efficient public-private partnership. No one can work alone anymore. 3, we need to have very high level of management ability to be able to deal with the challenges above. And that includes, of course, the safety and security measure. 4, sustainability should always be at the heart of whatever we do. And sustainability should be understood the way we try to convey it. Sustainability is not to be in conflict with growth and numbers. Fátima is still capable of receiving the world, embracing everybody. Just look at her, the lady of grace, the lady of brilliance, opening her arms and welcoming everybody. We should never, ever deny the basic human right of having everybody have the right to come. But we need to do that in a way that is managed properly, the integrity of the site being preserved, the authenticity of the site being preserved, and sustainability at the heart of all of this. The last point I want to make here is that it's absolutely important to connect Fátima and the religious site to other significant sites. Routes and connections of regional importance are very, very crucial in making sites more rich and more valuable. Because what's good for my neighbor is good for me. The strength of each point along the routes is absolutely crucial and important. These are some of the issues that need to be kept in mind when we market, when we brand, and when we present ourselves. Now, the future of religious tourism seems to be bright, and it is connected with the fact that religion is a faith, and faith is a human need. It's not specific to any particular religion or otherwise. We will continue to see this segment growing around the world. Let us turn into the increased number of visitors into opportunities, not burdens. Through community engagement, through good communication, through congestion management, through adequate planning, and through product diversification. We can make what we're talking about a reality that reflects good on everybody. Mr. President, I want to thank you so much. You and your team have been great. We will always remember these 24 hours, 48 hours for some of us, 72 hours for some of us. Many of us, I know, are staying behind here. I'm afraid that you are gaining some new admirers and some new people that would come under your umbrella, Mr. Mayor. This city of white color, everything around the city is white, I think is very representative, correctly representative of the simplicity, the purity, and the beauty of this city. So thank you very much for all of you to attend and to be here with us. And on behalf of UNWTO, the United Nations Specialized Agency for Travel and Tourism, I want to express my appreciation also to Tourism Portugal, to the government of Portugal, to the Ministry of Economy, to the minister who took very precious time and came and joined us last afternoon yesterday, to municipality, of course, and to the Shrine of Fátima for their partnership for hosting this year's International Congress on Religious Tourism and Pilgrimage. My last word, of course, goes to Krakow, the city that I have had the pleasure and the honor of visiting. And for those of you that have not been there, you're missing a lot in your lives, believe me. It's a beautiful city. It's a city full of warm emotions and a lot of great attractions. I'm expecting to see each and every one of you in Krakow next year. And you bring a friend with you when you come. Poland, of course, is another great country. No wonder it produced one of the greatest popes that mankind has ever seen. That is not strange, that's not unusual from a country as great as Poland. So thank you very much, sir, for your kind invitation. Let me repeat just once again what I shared with some of you yesterday who were at the dinner, and thank you so much for a wonderful evening last night, Mr. President. Small is not only beautiful, small can and should be powerful as well. Portugal, rise up to your responsibility, embrace us, and give the world an example, like Fátima did, of how we can all come together under one roof as human beings, because that's who we are, all of us. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rifai, for your inspiring words. Muito obrigado, Sr. Secretário-Geral, Sr. Presidente da Câmara. Muito obrigado a todos. Damos por encerrado o Congresso de Turismo Religioso e Peregrinações e esperamos vê-los em Cracóvia, na Polónia, no ano que vem. Muito obrigada.